So what are some pitfalls we should avoid in the process of discovering our unique purpose and unique calling?
Yeah, there's a couple. One is perfection, is feeling like you have to get it right. It's not, you're not. And so give yourself permission to experiment, to innovate and try things. And it's okay to have a early version of this that doesn't necessarily align with what you would have thought, and be open. That's the second thing, is keep an open mind. You never know where this is going to lead. And so if you prayerfully seek God's will and purpose in this, you may be surprised where you will end up. The third piece is to finish. A lot of people, they get distracted. I heard a great line in a sermon that I read not too long ago that said, distraction is the destruction of your dreams in slow motion.
Oh, wow. That's good. Yeah.
Distraction is the destruction of your dreams in slow motion. And that's what happens to a lot of people in this journey, is they get distracted. I'll get back to that, right? And then they don't. And so then it becomes, well, they learned a little bit about themselves, and that's better than nothing.
Right.
But, when you finish that journey, there is an affirmation that you get from that process. And again, so much of this is building you up. It's building on your strengths. And there's a whole lot of research now that shows that, building on strengths is the best path to achieving a higher quality level of performance, as well as a higher quality of life. Right. So those are some of the pitfalls, is being afraid of not getting it right. So, focus on perfection, of not being willing to finish, and of being distracted.
Yeah.
Right. So just a few. Yeah.
I think the one I struggled with most was the first one, because it was, I had these blanks to fill in, or so, and I was kind of like, oh, and being a teacher and a perfectionist, I was like, well, what's it supposed to say? And there wasn't a template necessarily for me to follow. I think I remember asking you, well, what does yours say? So I could kind of have something to go by, like what it should sound like.
Yeah, there's no teacher's manual, right? I mean, and there's no right answer.
It took some risk and courage to be willing to say, I'm putting it out there, and if it's not it, but yeah, so it's kind of overcoming that fear. And for those of us who tend to be rule followers and like to do things a certain way and have it all planned out, I think understanding that this is a journey, not a destination. I mean, it will lead you to someplace.
That's right.
I know that I will continue to refine mine probably as long as I live on this earth, because that's just part of being human.
That's right.
Figuring that out. So,
but it's kind of fun, because then you begin to see where you could apply that. And again, as you progress through different stages of life, you're going to find that the opportunities for you to apply some of your natural strengths and instincts and habits, and you're going to develop new habits. And the habits piece is something that will help you maybe discover some other aspects of your genius, right? So there are elements. Your strengths don't usually change that much. Neither do your natural instincts that much. But and you can add to some of those assessments some personality assessments, or other like a Myers-Briggs or a DISC or something else. But it's bringing that all together and taking the time to reflectively find where's the intersection of that, so that you can then begin building off of that. And you to become the best in the world at doing what you love, you have to figure out what that is.
Yeah, sure.
And then in developing those habits, and then practice.
Right. Yeah. And for me, I think it's like, what is it that makes your soul come alive?
Yeah. Oh, great way to put it.
Yeah. Because it's like, what is that you're just like, oh, I just want to be able to do that all the time. I was reading Mark Batterson's book, Chase the Lion. I don't know if you've read it or not.
Yes, I have.
I just started it. And there's this phrase in there where he talks about leveraging your gifts to help other people achieve their dreams. And that's what is part of my
absolutely
and calling. And I was like in my living room going, yes, out loud, because I was like, this is what makes me come alive, is helping other people to achieve that, which is why we're doing this interview today. I'm hoping that it will help somebody.
Perfect.
So, so it's kind of whatever it is that sets your soul on fire. So my last question would be, what are the most crucial steps that if someone's saying, okay, I really want to figure this out? I know you've listed kind of 6 things, but what is the most crucial thing to do first? And like preparing, I guess, yourself for what you're going to do.
Honestly, it is to decide that you're not going to quit. Okay. Resolving that when you take that step, that you're going to commit yourself all the way.
Yeah.
And I've studied different people as they have begun the process, and I've seen some that will, they literally are afraid that what they figure out about themselves, they may not like. And so they back off. Others will kind of be, they'll think that, that it may not be worth the effort. Well, I can assure you from testimonies from hundreds and hundreds of people, it is. Yeah. And the fulfillment that happens as a result of that, it's usually, so for some, there might be that light bulb moment, but for others, it's more of a progressive, a transformation, and they begin, and sometimes they see the transformation happening to themselves, and other times it's happening to them, and they just are developing new habits and new perspective, and it just kind of begins to come on them, right? I think the best advice is finish. Start and finish. And when you commit yourself to that, that means that you don't allow anything else to take you away from where this could take you. And you put some accountability in place. That's another, I guess, thing is, when we did it together, there was a little bit of a group, and Mike and some of the other folks that were part of that little group, we provided some accountability with each other, right? Oh, and that helps some. So I would say find some accountability that will help push you through, because that's going to be the thing that will frustrate you the most. Is it'll be one of those another thing that you said you were going to do, but you just kind of never got around to, right? And so, you have to, make the commitment that you're going to do it, know what you're going to look like, even envision what it's going to look like when you finish, and then put some accountability in place that will help push you along. That's great. And hopefully outside the lines. And I can be some of that accountability for somebody who's watching this or reading about this. So absolutely. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed reading your blog. I think you've got some great stuff out there, and admire how you're using your gifts to make a difference in people's lives, Jenny. Thank you. And I think intentionality is a huge thing that you mentioned. Like, I remember when we went through the class, you even recommended having a certain time of the month, a certain time each month or every few months to just get away. Yep. Like, mine was my birthday. That was the day that I was going to set it. That way I'd remember every year. This is the day I'm going to go step out in reflection, or every few months on the 23rd. That will be the time that I kind of just set aside and kind of block that on my calendar and just kind of go back and revisit what I had written. And it's fun to go back and revisit. I have a whole manila folder about this big of all the stuff that I did. That's awesome. And I think it's good to just go back and revisit. And I like the very first statement I wrote is actually what I'm currently doing right now. Really? It's funny. Like, wow. You know how you write down, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years or 10 years? And when will you feel like you've arrived? Was, I guess, something like that. That's right. I'm doing that right now. Fantastic. But yet I'm still finding, oh, no, there's more. Right. Like an onion, you can peel off the layers. Yeah, that's a great point. Celebrating the birthday, doing a birthday retreat, and doing that, once a month, taking a half day or a couple of hours, and being able to step away and say, okay, where am I? Being able to check myself, am I on the right path? What adjustments can I make? And, having that habit, wow, it's a game changer. And then on your birthday, go off for the day. Literally take a vacation day, do whatever you have to do, and then have that reflection time to know, what worked, what didn't work, what were the key milestones throughout the year, what are your expectations for the coming year, what are you going to be, praying about, use that. That's your new year, right? That's yours. So own it and make sure that you value that time to set up this next year for yourself to be absolutely remarkable. That's great. Well, Scott, thank you so much. And I know once you get the Yahweh Journal up, you're going to let me know so I can let. Yes. If you need it in the meantime, they can email Jenny. She's got a copy of it. She can send it to you, and then we'll put it up onto Amazon here shortly as well. So anyway, I really encourage you to take the steps. Finding your personal genius is a game changer. And I know it was for me personally, and you can do it at any point in your life. It doesn't matter if you're 18, you're 38, you're 58, you're 88. You can do this. And so I really encourage you to take that step. And again, Jenny, thank you for your faithfulness and being a part of my testimony, because I love seeing the impact that this has had in your life. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Scott. We appreciate it. My pleasure.